All right, guys. Today's episode we have Chance Moorman. He is a freestyle bullfighter. Man, honestly, one of the most talented bullfighters we've seen going down the road. And me and Paul were flipping through Instagram the other day, and we went down the rabbit hole of all of your fights recently. And one of your videos popped up, and we sat there for probably 20 minutes, and we're just like, "Yep, we need to have him on. I want to chat about all this. This is sick." But me and you got a chance to meet at what was that, Western Sports Foundation a few years ago.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I've been to two of those Western Sports Foundation clinics. I just love them. They're great time and get to meet great people like yourself. And I was excited to hear y'all wanted to have me on here.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's WSF has done a cool thing with those. And when you showed up to that, when rodeo, bullfighting, just the Western sports as a whole, it's a really mixed bag of athletic abilities that show up to these kind of clinics, right? And so we have guys and girls that have never worked out. We have guys that have, maybe tried to lift every now and then we have athletes like yourself. And from the first 5 minutes of getting to work out with you, I was like, this guy is talented. He's got a bunch of athletic ability and he moves really well. And so when we started talking, I figured, you figured out you're a bullfighter. I'm like, oh, this makes total sense. But I, I really want to get into, man, I feel like you have taken this thing so far beyond just the competitive side in America. Like you are going abroad and studying the sport. I think you've done that multiple times. What, man? I don't want to go too deep too early, but kind of fill me in how you got started in bullfighting, dude. Like, where did this come up? Were you raised around bulls, or like
So
what lit that fire?
I was always raised around Western side of life and around rodeo. When I was younger, my dad fought protection bulls and he freestyled before I come along, but he kind of got away from it because he knew it was a rough lifestyle. And this was 2018, and BFO was having their camps. And on the last day, they'd invite three guys out or three kids out and see if they had anything, see if they could go to a school. And I was 17 in my room and I seen them. I'd been wanting to go and dad been putting me off. And I just signed myself up and told him we're driving to Katy one day. And we
That's
got
awesome.
there and it was Ross Hill, Weston Rakowski, Aaron Ferguson, Justin Josie, all of them, like the main guys standing there. And
Oh, geez.
yeah, exactly, yelling at me to jump them. So I was being 17, you're like, I can't disappoint these guys. So I went for a move called the Superman, where you go horizontal over the bull and then roll when you hit the ground. Well, I kind of over rotated and landed on my feet, landed a front flip. And I was just like, well, that was kind of easy. And they invited me to the next camp and it's just, yeah,
Yeah,
I
I was
bet
about
they
to say,
did.
no kidding. Oh, that's freaking
That's
rank,
wild,
dude.
man.
17. So like gymnastics, like where does this have you done anything like that prior to that, or this is just a natural thing that had just happened?
I've always been a really athletic kid. When I was in high school, they come up with a program with three different schools in the area. It was an early college program, but so you earn your high school diploma and your associate's degree at the same time, but they took away your sports to make you focus on school, which kind of did the opposite for me because there was nothing to hold my academics to a standard anymore for me anymore. So I just kind of needed to find that physical outlet, and I seen those camps and just signed myself up.
Man, that's so cool. What year was that? You said 2000,
It was March of 2018.
2018. So we're 7 years down the road. What? So you got into the BFO, you started going to their camps. What was the progression there? How did they? I honestly have no idea how any of the bullfighting stuff works. So do they help bring you up? Help you, get into more
So
training or more like how to
yeah, so
mentorship?
they have clinics and camps. They had more back a few years ago. I'm trying to get them to bring them back now, both the UBF and the BFO. Um, but when I first started coming around, there was 4 or 5 camps a year sometimes. So I was going to every camp I could, getting around as much cattle as I could. Because after I paid for the first one, they started inviting me to events. Because, excuse me, UBF and BFO events are all invitation only. So you can't just draw in and get in. So BFO actually started inviting me to events in 2018. So I started showing up to all these camps as a tour athlete, but I'd show up and all these kids would get bumped up over 2 days and be sore and not want to fight the third day. And that's when I'd get my practice.
Yeah. That's man, that's so cool to hear. I was thinking about you just said like it's invitational only. Could you imagine the wrecks that would happen if it was an open? Like anyone could sign up. All of the all of the men that think they are get a couple beers in them, they're like, "Oh, I could do that, no problem." Oh, it would be bad. Dude, speaking of that, okay, UBF. Okay, I'm all over the board. My bad. But the UBF and the midnight fights you guys do. Who's the dude from Houston, the rapper who jumped in there with you guys?
Oh, the Mexican OT. That,
Yes, dude. That was
yeah,
that was wild. What was that like to watch or be a part of?
man, well, he's from Texas. He's from Bay City, just outside Houston. So that was really cool.
Yeah.
Texas boy, it's a well-known rapper at that, to come hanging out
Yeah.
at the bull games and just have fun and step around cattle. And then he actually steps out there and like makes a couple decent passes and then gets clobbered by one, but gets back up and shows he's all about it. That was sick to see.
Dude, I was fired up when I watched that. I thought it was so cool because like you said, he didn't just like pussyfoot around. He sent it. And he was
Stepped
all
in
in.
there and was doing the right thing, kind of, without knowing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Oh man, it was cool to watch. But I think that's what a cool outlet and a cool way to bring a lot more eyes to the sport and to the way that we do things. Um, sorry,
Absolutely.
I didn't mean to get all derailed, but
Yeah, I think I think that video made its way around like every platform, both music related and rodeo related. So I mean, that got a lot of publicity. I think for just bullfighting and rodeo in
Absolutely.
general.
I think that's another huge thing for bullfighting as well, because not only you don't have to be a cowboy to be a Western sports athlete, especially a bullfighter at that. I mean, that's kind of my deal. Like, you probably have a lot of guys on when they come on their button ups and cowboy hats, but man, when I'm at home, I'm not a cowboy. Like, I'm a fisherman, I'm a hunter, like, I'm an outdoorsman, but I'm not all day cowboy. I'm not ranching and I'm not cowboying all the time. So it's great to get that exposure out there.
it is. I want to kind of talk about that though. You're not a cowboy at home. I've thought about that myself a lot because there's I had a meeting with some people we're potentially going to be working with. We were talking about the Western way of life, and he's like, I could never. I would just look so dumb in a cowboy hat. Like everyone would know I'm a fake. And I told them the older I've gotten, the more I've realized like cowboy's a state of mind. It's a mindset. It's how you do things. It's your beliefs. It's how you hold yourself. It's not necessarily that you're working cows all day, And I think you are a cowboy, but you're also a rodeo athlete, and everything just looks a little different in today's world. So I don't know, just a random thought that I've been having over the last couple of days. So when you said that, I was like, it's strange that it's coming up because I thought about this yesterday.
No, absolutely. I've been telling people for years, I'm not a cowboy. I mean, I don't claim to be a cowboy. I wear a cowboy hat and like I walk around like dressed like one, but I'm a bullfighter. I'm not a cowboy by any means.
Yeah. So, man, that brings up even a cooler perspective here. You got into this thing not really being a part of it. Um, my brother and I kind of came into this the same way. We knew what rodeo was. We've been to lots of rodeos. We've been on horses, done all that stuff, but like never been a part of any kind of sport like that. So for you, getting into this, what was the hardest thing for you to overcome? Or was it one of those things that is just like, well, I mean, obviously the first time you went, you did a front flip over one, so you just full send. So you're like an anomaly over here. But have there been any challenges or the challenges in the beginning? What were they, if there were any?
I mean, Challenges in the beginning, obviously, it's like just getting your steps right and getting those movements correct and knowing where you need to be, when you need to be there. And obviously, the mental side of standing in front of a 1,200-pound animal that's coming at you, wanting to kill you, you know, that's not something an average day guy can handle, especially sit there calmly and get close to me.
There's something wrong with you guys. So, but let's talk about that, because when we talk about bareback riding, bull riding, any of these rough stock events, there's this element of danger and fear that plays a big role in it, and you have to get that between your ears. You've got to be okay with that and come to terms with, yes, these things can happen, but if I trust my training, we should be okay 98% of the time. Getting that training, getting those reps, and that's kind of what I was hearing you say, is like, you just got to keep getting in front of them and learning how to do the thing, and getting those reps is really important, same as these rough stock events. How important are getting the proper reps in the beginning? Like, not getting, like, having the right people to bring you up, instead of just getting turned loose and like, go figure it out, kid.
Absolutely. I mean, you get turned loose and go figure it out. It's the hard knocks. I mean, bullfighting is gonna be hard knocks either way. It's a rough sport, but if you don't know what you're doing, you're just going out there trying to run around, you're not gonna get very far. But if you have guys like me and Knox Dunn, guys that have been there, done this, and we're telling you the moves to make, and you're listening to us, and it's hard because when you're first starting, you kind of black out at first, you know what I mean? But
Oh yeah.
you kind of got to slow it down so that you can process what's happening.
How much in the beginning it's so hard to slow it down because everything is coming at you a million miles an hour. I remember, getting on bucking horses, my probably first 50 horses I blacked out. Like, don't remember anything for the first couple seconds, and then coming to. And a lot of that, you said, is controlling the brain, breathing, being able to breathe and keep yourself breathing and not just tighten up and do our normal like fright or fear thing, right, where we lock up. There has to be an element of like, if I had someone in front of you, a green bullfighter, been in front of some bulls but was having troubles controlling his brain, what are some things that you do to help you control your mind?
And a big thing for me is I kind of go through the same routines every time I get warmed up. And then I have Zins in my mouth throughout the day. So a little bit of
Same, bro.
a little bit of nicotine always helps. And then piece of spearmint bubble gum. Mint's supposed to help with like nausea and anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And then that chewing helps you keep breathing as well.
Dude,
That's very
I
interesting.
love it. Go on, Paul. Go on.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I feel like that is very different advice than what anybody else has given when you talk about like mindset and stuff, but very practical at the same time. Like, guys can go take what works for them away from that, but no, man, I think the breathing, I think, is probably a huge thing, and so like you've taken. I almost wanted to call it a supplement, and maybe that's the right word for it, but like using gum as a supplement to like help you stay in the right mental space. Like, you're using something external that you can use. The other really cool thing that you said was like you do the same routine every single time. And so like that's kind of maybe a little bit more of normal piece of advice that guys can take away. But I think those things are huge, is like focusing on keeping your mind present. You're using nicotine to kind of help with that. Use that at your own discretion, people. But the gum to help breathing, and then the routine to keep everything centered and in the same pattern, I guess, every single time. It just brings that peace of mind to you, and so you're focusing on the things that you can control right before fighting.
And then like even leading up to an event, like working out, you're working on your breathing while you're working out, and you're under strenuous activity then. So you're kind of, working at that adrenaline peak a little bit, not quite what it is in bullfighting, but you're working with it then. And then obviously, like, everybody's going to have those doubts in their mind stepping out there. Like, you're facing an animal that wants to kill you. And sometimes they're smarter than they should be, you know? So you're going to get those doubts in your mind. You just got to push them aside and know you're walking with the Lord and he's right there with you, and everything happens for a reason.
Man, that's pretty powerful. But I love going back to, you have a process that you do, and we preach this all the time. You need to have the same process that you prepare for your event, whatever it is, every single time, because that's like your check in with yourself. That oh hey, I'm feeling good today. Like this, I'm breathing. I like the Zen's working, like whatever it is, and you're ready to roll.
Yeah.
The in the bareback riding, I tried to chew gum for a long time, but I always end up just squishing it in my cheek, and it would end up all over my mouth. So I stopped doing that. But like a cue I would do to make myself breathe would just, before I nodded, I would just exhale all my air out, so my body had to inhale again to breathe on the way out when I mark them out, and it worked really well. But there's so many little things, and like, man, just that process is cool to hear, because like Paul was saying, that is very different from what we hear from anybody. But I asked you specifically about mental preparation, and that was 100% getting the mind dialed in. So let's get into the body now. You talked about working out, like leading up to it, the week they're putting in the work. What does training look like for a freestyle bullfighter?
Man, it's really grounded, honestly. I lift a lot of weights just because I'm a smaller guy, and a little more weight keeps them bulls from being able to throw me and keeps me healing up a little faster. So I lift a little more than a lot of other guys, but a lot of cardio, a lot of explosive activities. I like to use bands a lot, like for sprinter workouts and box jumps, stuff like that, increase vertical and how fast I am, how quick I am.
What is the time frame for around a bullfight? How long do you fight for?
So a bullfight is minimum 40 seconds, and then you have an extra 20 to get what we call a cell, is like a capitalization point on it.
Put your stamp on it.
That's right.
All right. Cardio wise, what does training look like for that? Are you so as coaches, we would sit here and look at this and like, what energy system are they using here? Okay, we're at a minute, so we're slow glycolysis, so we're using carbs as fuel, right?
Yep.
But also we're not doing, it's not a 100% for 10 seconds. We need to sustain for that 60 seconds. A lot of bullfighters that I follow are doing, I see them running 10, 20 miles a day and doing things like that. In my head, I think good for you, because that's a discipline thing, but I'm also thinking, how in the hell is that helping us for this 1 minute where you need to be giving this max effort and you're sitting there training 4 hours of max effort? It doesn't correlate in my eyes. So how do you feel about that, and what do you do?
I absolutely agree. I mean, there's these top guys out there saying you got to run these miles, you got to run these miles. And from a mental discipline standpoint, I could understand it because it's not an easy thing to do. However, for a freestyle bullfight standpoint, I don't think it's a good thing. I mean, you're training for a long distance event, or you're training long distance for a short explosive event. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
I try to keep it.
Sense.
My brother, he's been back this summer. He plays D3 football in Kansas. So he came home with all his football workouts, and I've been going to the field and doing just his agility stuff with him.
Heck yeah. That's perfect, dude. That's so good. I was just going to talk about agility because I don't know the answer to this, but do non-contact injuries happen that often in freestyle bullfighting? So what I mean, like someone plants and blows a knee out or an ankle or something like that.
Yeah, I'd say so. And I wouldn't say it's more so from like us cutting or anything. It's from maybe like a bull tossing us and us landing wrong. You know what I mean? Like trying to extend our leg the wrong way and it just gives or something. But I think with stretching and working out, you minimize that, you know?
Yeah, I I think you're definitely right about that. I haven't seen that many people plant and blow an ACL out, but I've seen many guys get thrown, and maybe not even that hard, but just the way that they're landing is putting them in a really, really poor position. Mobility, obviously crucial. We need to be strong through those end ranges of motion. You need to be durable because, again, you're going to get hit. It's just a matter of time, and it might
Absolutely.
happen more than one time in a round. And you got to
Absolutely.
be able to get up and keep going. So,
It's not if, it's when.
yeah, it's definitely it. With your agility stuff, though, how much attention are you paying to the actual technique and the foot placement of each drill before you add intensity?
So I, I don't lift super heavy, or when I'm doing anything like that, I don't go heavy. I'll start like moderate weight, you know, and then I'll work my way into that heavier weight. So I'm getting that movement right, getting that movement right. And then once I'm tired, then I'm pushing that heavier weight too, which I guess could be frowned upon because you're tired and your form might be a little worse. But the way I see it is after that 40 seconds, you're gassed. And that's when the hard work comes in.
Yeah. And uh, dude, for sport, when we're talking about training for sport, it's there are going to be parts that are a little bit um, unhealthy is the wrong term, but sport in generality is not a healthy thing. Like at its highest levels, it's unhealthy because you're having to sacrifice and push your body to these insane limits. So when you are in an event like this, you have to introduce some kind of stimulus similar to that so you can have the mental crossover essentially. I've been here before. I know what this feels like. The cool thing about that is they don't look anything alike. This what you're actually going through in the event, and then this thing you're doing looks a lift, and it's like they don't replicate each other, but they cross over perfectly because he's training his brain to turn it up a notch when he's hitting this last 20 seconds of the fight. And the same way you're talking about focusing on that proper movement and your breath, people. So you know me, like we do tempo on everything. And people think it's because they think that I think they can't move well, and that's not it at all. It's this. It's the actual doing the thing of counting your reps and counting the time under tension and having to breathe at the same time. They hate it at first because it's freaking hard. It's very hard. And in no point in time are you using your brain that way in everyday life. But in every single rough stock event, bullfighting included, your brain has to work that way. And if you're not training it outside of the arena, your progression is going to be so slow because the only way you're training it is at this insanely intense level and you can't adapt that way. So you have to go backwards, and like you starting in the gym, you being able to count your reps, count the tempo, and breathe at the same time, you're like, oh, I can do all of this now. That's not even it's not hard for you to get to this thing that you need to do in the gym or in the arena because your brain's been trained that way, even though they don't look similar. Sorry, it looked like you were trying to say something. I just
No,
kept
you're
rolling.
good. You're good. I'm just trying to make sure I don't lose the thought because that's a good point. Like while I'm working out, I'll get on the leg press machine and do calf extensions where I bring it down to my butt, but I explode out and then I push with my calves. So it's mimicking a jump, you know what I mean? And then I'll do 25 reps or so of that, and I'll make sure I make it at least 40 to 60 seconds, you know?
You're doing all these things they're smart, man. The way you have them set up, you naturally are understanding like how this needs to be trained. You're like, I do this. Okay, I need to be in the same time frames. I need to be working on those things. What talking to me about being like a student of the game. So you talked about all these OGs that brought you up, like watching them, and you've gone way further than that. Like I said, you went to Spain not long ago. So what talk to me about, the homework and becoming a student and then how that led you I mean, literally the origins of bullfighting.
Man, doing the homework's literally what got me anywhere. I mean, don't get me wrong, the getting out there and getting around cattle's done it too, because like you got to read cattle fight bulls. But when you sit there and study video and you break it down move by move the way I've been taught to and learned to, you can sit there and break it down like people don't understand. Like it's almost scientific the way you can break it down. So when I first started, and even to this day, I'll watch hours of footage someday and just hours of bullfights, like to the point where I think there's not many bullfights I haven't watched from probably the 1980s.
It's such a cool little fact because I can name probably 3 or 4 rough stock riders, bareback saddle bronc riders, and bull riders each that you could put on an NFR from 1998 to today, and they've seen every round and they've pretty much memorized every single round of their event. The horses, the rides, how the guys did. But those guys are the top. Go ahead, Paul. Go.
Yeah, I think it's such a huge advantage that guys don't take they don't use it.
Free
Like,
resource.
I've always been a huge film guy, and like I love looking at film and watching film and breaking it down. Like I'll literally do it all day and I'll forget to eat, like I'll get so wrapped up in it. When we did OPA last fall and we were breaking down film for the bareback riders, Cade Saunier, Tim O'Connell both had like that same, I don't know,
Yeah.
passion or affinity or whatever for watching film. And like you would see a lot of the students there, like something would happen and it's just like they have no idea. Like they're watching it, we're replaying it in slow-mo and it's like not registering with them. But then like Tim and Cade, like, I mean, they know exactly what's going on and they're breaking it all down. And I was like,
And they see
guys, like, do you see this connection? Like, you are here because you don't understand the film yet. These guys are here because they did the homework and watched the film. Like, it's such an important thing. And, I think good on you, man. Like, the proof is in the pudding. Everything that you've said so far is now kind of like unwrapping, like, oh, this is why Chance Moorman is the best guy in the world at fighting bulls. I think it's no wonder because you've done the work.
The biggest thing for me is my main mentor coming into this was Ross Hill. And when I come into this, he asked me at the first camp I went to, what's your why? And that has stuck with me this whole time. From day one, my why has been, I want to be the best there's ever been. So the way I see it, the only way to do that is to put the work in, watch the video, do the workouts, show up and show out every time you can.
Talk to me. Go
Before
ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say before we move on from being a student in the game. So hopefully, maybe Doug's question was in there, but I like selfishly, I want to ask. Rodeo, like we can trace rodeo's roots back, 100, 150, maybe 200 years in some events. Bullfighting
Dude, we're talking about
goes back thousands and thousands of years. Like this has been around since the beginning of time. People have been fighting or jumping bulls, like as an art form, as a ritualistic thing. Like it has got to be the oldest sport on the planet. So like being a student of the game, like, I don't know, can you give us a history lesson? Like what did you learn in Spain? Like what's the differences, I guess? Like, I don't know, just kind of what's your experience been like?
There's so much, like, just from the student of the game perspective, like going over there, and there's so many forms of bullfighting over there. Like we have freestyle bullfighting and protection bullfighting, saving cowboys, and then showing your expertise, I guess. Over there, they have recordadors, which are making passes just like us, but one at a time on the same bull. And then there's matadors, which everybody knows with the capes and stuff. And then they fight bulls and cows on the streets in the city up there. Like there's just so many forms of it over it. And then it's so different because their animals are bred past the point of our bucking bulls are, I believe. In the 17 or 1800s, there were 5 breeds of fighting bull. And then from those 5 in the 1900s, they cultivated just different like variations of them for how they hold their head, how they charge, like how they fight. And then like there's certain bulls for matadors with the capes. There's certain bulls for recordadors. There's certain bulls for the street. Like, and then there's certain guys over there, like they just breed their cattle to be super wild and super mean to where they'll put like a pyramid of stairs in the middle of an alley and feed them on one side and water them on the other side so that they get used to climbing stairs, so that when they take them to the cities and guys take them to the stairs, they come straight up over them with them. Oh, it's the craziest thing. It's my favorite. I love it.
That is insane. Could you imagine that in America? People would lose their
Oh,
minds.
dude, you couldn't.
No,
couldn't.
no, you couldn't. He says.
No, there'd be a lawsuit.
Oh man, yeah, that's wild.
Over there, it's really, I kind of really like it too, because like when they have the bulls out, don't get me wrong, it's all barred off and stuff, but it's all to your own risk. Like
Oh yeah.
you're liable for yourself at that point.
You see videos all the time of people. They'll be behind the bars and they're still getting the absolute shit hooked out of them. Like,
Oh yeah.
and those, I'm willing to bet those bulls are not tipped whatsoever. So they're going into you.
Oh yeah.
They're sinking in.
So back to your point, I've been over to Spain and I actually won over there this year. So I was thinking about it earlier this year, and between the U.S., Canada, and Spain, I've won 3 different places, and that's just mind blowing for me, and especially Spain of all places, because we were in a big bull plaza, you know what I mean? And like you said,
It looked like Gladiator.
absolutely,
It really
felt like
did.
Gladiator. And when you step out there, it's not like our dirt. It's not turned up. It's not worked. It's like a hard baseball field out there. So you can't wear spikes because they're just going to slip. So you like your best option's turf shoes, but they still slip. And like to your point, they don't tip the bulls over there, even for
Yeah,
us.
you don't want to be on the ground with them.
No.
Oh man, that's insane to think about. Okay, so like we see this in rodeo a ton, or any of these like niche sports, big fish in a small pond. You have entered the large pond, the world, and you've got to win in 3 different countries, and not to mention one of the countries that's most well known for the sport. And you watch their style over there, and just me not knowing a ton about it, it's definitely a very different style. And I think to win at their level, to be able to adapt to that and win in 3 different places, because I imagine they're judging it a little bit differently in each place, based off of personal preference, or I don't know exactly how that works, but
Absolutely.
that's insane, man. It's so. What's the future look like? What's your next goal? Go ahead.
And it's kind of a thought I've been thinking about for a year or so now, probably. It's like, I feel like I've left my state as a great bullfighter already here. I think there's definitely more that I can do, and there's definitely more events I can win. And obviously, I'm not going to lighten up and just roll over, but I think it's getting to the point, it's not so much of what I do anymore. I think it's what I do for the sport and what I leave behind for those that come behind me.
That's
You know what I
cool, man.
mean? I think that's getting to be more important to me.
That's what it's all about in the end. Like, you get to accomplish
Yep.
these things, and it feels good. But at the end of the day, when you get to help the next generation be better than you, like learn these things earlier than you did, and take it further than you did, and the sport just propels because of those things, like that mentorship that you're going to provide is, man, in our eyes, I mean, that's what our job is essentially. So we love coaching, right? But I think that's so cool, dude. Have you already been kind of helping some younger guys out and stuff like that?
Yeah, absolutely. And these younger guys that are coming around, I tell them, if you got a question, ask me. I'm gonna tell you whether you want to hear it or not. Like, bring a video to me too, and I'll break it down for you. And I've been talking to some guys, and I was talking about how those camps have kind of thinned out over the past few years, and I think I'm gonna try to start bringing those back and maybe teach them myself with another buddy or 2. Then I got another idea that I think will help bullfighting as a whole. I just got to get some partners for it and get it in the
Sweet.
works.
Well, when you do that, let us know, because we want to hear all about it again. That's super cool, man. That's really cool. What so when you think about how you teach, are you changing in the approaches that maybe were taken with you when you started to what you're doing with these younger kids, or do you feel like pretty similar?
I feel like it's going to be a pretty similar deal that I got when I was starting to come up. I mean, I watched Ross Hill teach numerous camps over and over and over again. And so that's kind of where I learned it. But I'm not that loud, boisterous character like Ross is. So I'm going to have to find that person that like is extra
Mm-hmm.
sociable so that they can attract the kids. You know what I mean? Because I mean, don't get me wrong. I want to be sociable, but I feel like I come off a little stern and kind of want to do the deal.
Dude, that's what I feel like that's what makes our team so good is because we're all different in that aspect, but we all complement each other really well in our strengths and our weaknesses. So that's a really good decision. And like that's a man, as a leader, that just shows like natural leadership skills. You're like, hey, I'm not great at that. I need to get someone that is so we can make this thing really awesome. It's cool, dude. What you're talking about the numbers have been down a little bit. Do you think that's is there any reason behind that?
Like the
Yeah,
number of
like yeah, at
bullfighters
the
have been
camps and
down.
stuff. Is it just because there's less camps going on? Maybe.
Yeah, there's just really less camps going on
Yeah.
now than there was a few years back, really. Um, there's still guys coming up. I feel like we'd have a lot bigger, better crop if we were still
Hmm.
doing camps. Like, I mean, it's how you do how that's how you get better people. You know what I mean? That's how you get more people
Yeah.
exposed to it. And that's how you thin.
I want to talk about one last thing before we get off of here, and I want to go back to. I was watching one of your. It was one of your UBF fights, and actually Paul and I were watching at the same time. I think within the first 7 seconds, I was like, "That dude is in his flow state, and then like cannot be bothered." And I'm sure you like flow state is like this thing where you are so conscious that you're like unconscious. You nothing else is you
Absolutely.
nothing else matters but what you're doing. And I had experiences with that when I was in competitive CrossFit, and that was a big part of the sport was like trying to get our athletes and ourselves into this flow state where you're so dialed to your game plan and what you're doing that it's a 20-minute workout. And it I literally have had it where it feels like it's 3 minutes and you're done and you're like, what, like, whoa. And watching you move is so like reactive, if that makes sense. You're reacting to what the bull is doing rather than trying to force what you think should happen onto him, and it makes it look effortless when you're moving. I mean, after listening to you talk over this last hour, I understand how you're there now with all the time that you spent and like how you've broken this down and the places you've been. But what's your best advice for these guys coming up to get there? How do you get to that flow state in that place?
Man, you got to put in the work in the gym so you're in shape when it's time. I mean, last year there was a day I fought 5 bulls in one day, and like it might not sound like a lot to a lot of people, but come that fourth bull, I was ready to just take last spot in short round. I was gassed. I had
Yeah.
nothing left. You know what I mean? Um, so obviously put in the work in the gym, put in the work watching your videos, and then just get around cattle. The more cattle you can be around, the better. I mean, I got where you can utilize them.
Perfect. I
And
don't
then
know if it
once you
caught
got
that. I had to
those
switch your
two,
mic back
it's
over.
easier. Oh, my bad.
No, you're good, dude. You're good.
Uh,
Um, no, just restate that for me real quick.
so it's pattern recognition, pattern utilization, and then pattern creation. And the first two come first. You have to have pattern recognition. You got to recognize what that is doing. there's been times like my first world or my second world championship, I should have, I believe I could have had it a year earlier, but I hit that point where I felt untouchable. I felt like I couldn't make a wrong step. And I read this bull and I knew which way I needed to go. But since I felt that way, I felt I could go the wrong way and show my dominance. You know what I mean? And that's recognizing those patterns. You recognize that pattern and then you utilize that pattern. And you utilize it by going where you need to be and reading him.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And that's creating your pattern.
Man, that right there, that is so cool. That is freaking awesome, man. That has never been said. I've never heard it explained like that at all. So thank you for that. That was cool. That was really cool. And it just shows even more, man, how much you are a master of your craft. And anyone out there, if you want to be a master of anything you do, you need to be able to explain what you do, like Chance has just done for the last hour with us. It's been, man,
Thanks.
it's been awesome to have you. I've learned a ton, and we will definitely be having you back on here to chat more about bullfighting and what you're doing, and definitely want to hear about these things that you've got in the works once you get them launched.
Absolutely.
You bet,
Thank
brother.
you. Thanks
Absolutely.
for having
Where
me.
can people follow along with you?
I'm on Instagram at chance_Moorman_. That's MOORMAN. And really, that's about all I'm at. I'm working on creating a YouTube, and
Heck yeah.
it's what I
Dude,
got going
love
right
it.
now.
I love it, dude. We'll keep doing the stuff, and thank you again for being here today, brother. We'll catch up with you soon.
Thanks for
See you
having
later.
me, pal.